In today's session, we'll begin to look at the Kalam Cosmological Argument for God's existence. This argument traces its roots to the efforts of early Christian philosophers living in Alexandria, Egypt, to refute Aristotle's doctrine of the eternity of the world. They argued that the possibility of an infinite past is absurd and that therefore the universe must have had a beginning. When Islam swept across North Africa, it absorbed this tradition, and there developed within medieval Islamic thought a very strong tradition of argumentation for the creation of the universe and the existence of a creator. And it's in honor of that tradition that I gave this argument the name, the Kalam Cosmological Argument, Kalam being the Arabic word for medieval Islamic theology. Muslim theologians lived side by side with Jewish thinkers in Spain, and they bequeathed the argument in turn to these Jewish thinkers, who then handed it back to the Latin-speaking West, where it became the topic of great controversy. It finally came to something of an inconclusive result in Kant's philosophy in the 18th century. The great German philosopher Immanuel Kant argued that there are compelling arguments both for and against the beginning of the universe, thereby exposing the bankruptcy of reason itself. Well, I certainly hope that that is not the net effect of the Kalam cosmological argument. In today's session, we'll look at arguments for the beginning of the universe drawn simply from philosophy. And these are principally of two types. First, there are arguments against the impossibility of an infinite past based upon the impossibility of the existence of an actually infinite number of things. If there cannot exist an actually infinite number of things, then there cannot have existed an actually infinite number of past events prior to today. Therefore, the series of past events must be finite and have a beginning. The second argument against the infinitude of the past is based upon the impossibility of the formation of an actual infinite by successive addition. You cannot form an actually infinite collection of things by adding one member at a time, one after another. But this is precisely the way in which the past series of events has been formed, one event following upon the heels of another. It would therefore follow that the temporal regress of past events cannot be infinite, but must be finite, and that therefore the universe had a beginning. So these are philosophical arguments for the finitude of the past, wholly apart from the evidence of scientific cosmology for the past's finitude. We'll also look at the first premise of the Kalam cosmological argument, that if the universe began to exist, then the universe must have a transcendent cause, something beyond the universe which brought it into being. In the session following this, we will then look at remarkable scientific evidence for the beginning of the universe that serves as confirmation of those philosophical arguments.